They told us that civilization was built on order, that the laws protect us, that leaders guide us, that democracy gives us a voice. But what if the very structure meant to safeguard society was quietly designed to exploit it? What if everything we accept as normal, the taxes, the bureaucracy, the failing hospitals, the crumbling schools, isn't a malfunction in the system, but the system working exactly as intended? Welcome to Twisted Plots. Here, we peel back the layers of the stories you were raised to trust. And today, we're stepping into a truth most people feel, but rarely dare to articulate. This is the Great Governance Deception. Let's begin. Not with ideology, not with partisanship, but with the lived reality of billions. The illusion of protection. For centuries, we were taught that the state is our shield, that it exists to protect us from chaos, war, collapse, that without it, everything would fall apart. But look around. Is it really the case? Where is the safety? Maybe it can be a little safe for the first world countries. But developing countries? You cannot even imagine the flawed system the citizens of these countries endure. Hospitals that resemble dump yards. Roads patched so poorly they crumble with each monsoon. In the name of education, kids are taught propaganda that benefits the elite. Although we pay taxes comparable to historical serfdom, yet receiving fractions in return. In today's market, becoming a homeless person is just a small incident away for almost 80% of the middle class around the globe. So where is the protection? Does it only mean securing the borders and completely disregarding the betterment of the citizens? Let's talk about the defense budget. The United States has the highest defense budget for 2025 at $895 billion, followed by China with $266.85 billion, and Russia with $126 billion. Other top spenders include India, $75 billion, Saudi Arabia, $74.76 billion, the United Kingdom, $71.5 billion, and Japan, $57 billion. And here is the question: who are waging wars? Is it the citizens of those nations who trying desperately to make a living, or the political leaders and few of their blind followers? Each time a country attacks another, lives and assets are lost, and then those are replaced by new lives and assets that are expendable. It's never these leaders who die. It's always the soldiers or innocent civilians. This isn't protection. It's a transaction we never consented to, a contract we didn't negotiate, a burden we inherited the moment we were born. And still, we're told it's necessary, inevitable, normal. But when was the last time normal ever worked in our favor? Taxes, the modern tribute. Let's talk numbers for a moment. Historically, Egyptian laborers, if you know what laborers meant in that age, paid tributes between 20% and 25% of their grain yield. The Roman Empire taxed citizens roughly 10% on income, with additional levies during wartime. Medieval peasants handed over about a fifth of their harvest to their lords, sometimes a little more. Now compare that with the present. In many modern countries, the average salaried citizen loses 30% to 40% of their income before it even touches their hands. Add indirect taxes, GST, VAT, excise, service charges, fuel tax, road tax, and suddenly the free citizen is surrendering half their earnings.
half. Half! Why? In the name of public welfare. But public welfare looks suspiciously absent. Government schools lack basic sanitation. Hospitals' beds are available for anyone who bids the highest for it, be it private or public health care. Local government offices function on fees everyone pretends aren't bribes. Potholes return within weeks like recurring nightmares. If ancient peasants were economic subordinates, what does that make us? Citizens? Or just modern slaves and contributors to a machine we have no control over? We don't pay taxes. We pay tribute to a system that functions beautifully for those who designed it. And no one knows exactly how these tax money is spent. We hear impossible figures of billions and trillions, but public cannot ask for the balance sheet. You cannot ask the government, or else they will put a label on you. Liberals, anti-national, right-wings, Democrats, and whatnot. No one can actually guarantee that it is utilized for your welfare, for our welfare. And you can see it if you just look around yourself with an open mind. Healthcare, abandoned by design. Public health is supposed to be the pride of governance, a marker of a nation's soul. But instead, it has become a museum of everything policymakers choose to ignore. Hospitals overflowing, doctors underpaid, essential medicines chronically missing, patients dying, not because treatment doesn't exist, but because access doesn't. Billions are collected every year in the name of healthcare, yet public spending per citizen remains staggeringly low in most countries, sometimes lower than what a middle-class family spends on groceries each month. How is that possible? Because health is not a priority. Disease is an industry. And an unhealthy population is far easier to manage than a healthy, questioning one. As Johann Galtung said, when people are denied what they need to live with dignity, the violence is structural and silent. Public healthcare systems aren't failing. They're strategically underfunded, understaffed, undermined. Because when something collapses long enough, people stop expecting it to work. And that's when private corporations step in, offering premium solutions for the problems the government allowed to fester. Individuals are pushed into poverty due to high out-of-pocket health expenses. It's not incompetence. It's a business model.
Education, groomed to obey, not question. Now, let's step inside the one institution capable of changing everything, but designed to change nothing. Schools. Decades pass. Governments rise and fall. Budget speeches echo promises of reform, modernization, digital learning. And yet the classrooms remain exactly the same. Understaffed, under-equipped, underfunded. Why? In the words of Frederick Douglass, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. Because an educated population is unpredictable, critical, demanding, and will ask questions. But a trained population, one that memorizes instead of analyzes, one that obeys instead of questions, one that fears the state instead of understanding it, that population is manageable, predictable, control-friendly. The truth is harsh. We are not educated. We are formatted. As Noam Chomsky said, the more you can increase fear of drugs, crime, welfare mothers, immigrants, and so on, the more you control people. But the real danger is an educated,
independent public. The system doesn't want thinkers. It wants functioning units, skilled enough to contribute, quiet enough to comply. Corruption, the eternal constant. Every election cycle, we're told the same tale. Remove corruption, purge the bad actors, clean the system. But corruption is not a stain on the fabric. It is the fabric. It is the lubricant that keeps bureaucracy moving. The hidden toll tax on every government service, the reason files disappear unless money appears. The silent agreement everyone knows but pretends doesn't exist. And when a new leader comes in, promising to solve everything, the machine absorbs them too. Because corruption isn't about individual greed, it's structural. A system built on hierarchy, opacity, and red tape will always breed corruption, regardless of who is in charge. We keep hearing big scams done by higher-ups and ministers of countries. It comes in the news and it is discussed. At times, we see a bit of outrage, and then the same leaders come back. Maybe the face changes, but the system of exploitation remains the same. That's why nothing changes. Not with new parties, not with new leaders, not with new slogans. The faces rotate. The rules remain. The great swap. Rights for illusions. Think about what we've traded. We hand over our data, our income, our privacy, our labor, our time, our trust, in exchange for safety, order, stability. But what do we actually receive? Endless queues at government counters, 6-month delays for simple documents, deadly hospital shortages, extreme healthcare bill, schools that produce stress, not skill, roads that swallow entire vehicles each monsoon, taxes that rise, services that fall. We've exchanged real rights for symbolic comfort, real freedom for ceremonial participation, real power for the permission to complain without consequence, as long as nothing changes. And who is to blame? No, not the system, but us. Why? Because a people that elect corrupt politicians, imposters, thieves, and traitors are not victims, but accomplices, as said by George Orwell. However, things aren't that simple as we say it. The voter's mirage. The perfect dictatorship would have the appearance of democracy, but would actually be a prison without walls. Aldous Huxley. Every few years, they tell us we're powerful. They hand us ink, they hand us hope, they hand us a choice. But the choices are identical. Different logos, different colors, same intent. You're not voting for leaders. You're voting for managers of the same machine. If governance was truly about public service, hospitals would overflow with resources, not patients. Schools would be temples of learning, not factories of compliance. Taxes would be investments, not annual sacrifices. Corruption would be punishable, not negotiable. But that world never arrives, because elections don't change systems. They reset them. The illusion refreshes. The cycle continues.
Why we accept it. It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it. Upton Sinclair. This is the part no one wants to admit. Governments don't rule because they're strong. They rule because people are exhausted. Exhausted by inflation, by rent, by EMIs, by commutes, by survival. A population struggling to breathe doesn't have the energy to resist, to question, to challenge. The deception works because the people are tired, and tired people cling to any structure, even one that exploits them. We accept suffering because we've normalized it. We accept incompetence because we've never tasted efficiency. We accept corruption because the alternative feels impossible. We've been conditioned to believe this is how it is. This is how it has always been. This is how it will always be. But nothing about this is natural. Nothing about this is inevitable. Nothing about this is accidental. The biggest fear of all. Here's the twist most people never see. Governments don't fear chaos. They fear awareness. A population that realizes its power is the most dangerous force in history. Revolutions aren't sparked by suffering, they're sparked by clarity. And clarity is a threat. And here comes the great deception. In the words of Roman poet Juvenal, "Give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt." That's why we are drowned in noise, in distractions, in manufactured outrage, in pointless debates, in scandals that change nothing, in news cycles that exhaust instead of inform. Because a tired mind doesn't question. A divided population doesn't unite. A distracted citizen doesn't resist. The deception isn't just political, it's psychological. The truth beneath the noise. This isn't a call to chaos or revolt or cynicism. It's a call to awareness. To recognize that the system is not broken, it is functioning precisely as designed, to benefit a few and manage the many. But awareness is contagious. Questions are dangerous, and once illusion cracks, even slightly, it never fully reseals. Because deep down, everyone already knows the truth. You're not failing the system. The system is failing you, and it always has. If this episode forced you to stop for a moment, to sit with a truth you've always felt but never framed, share it. Let others confront the cracks they've learned to ignore. Let the conversation grow beyond whispers, beyond fear, beyond the illusion. Debate it, challenge it, dismantle it. That's the entire point. We're not here to instruct you. We're here to disrupt the narrative you were taught to trust. We are here to make sure you ask questions. Ask it to your leaders. Ask them questions that are relevant, not what they want you to focus on. This is Twisted Plots, and this was the Great Governance Deception.